What's up, everyone? Shoe Booty Sports coming at you Tuesday evening. It's not night, it's very bright out right now. Anyway, Tuesday afternoon, per the always, evening, whatever at this point. It's 5 p.m. Central Time. I'm Grandpa on this screen. That's Bradley Brown on the other. Say what's popping, Bradley.
What's happening?
A few things here and there. March Madness. We are down to the final four at this point. We'll talk about that and then some. Before we get going, we're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. Shoe Booty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, a marathon, and the one of a kind Rhino Ultra. You can sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience. Track it with your fitness app of choice. Screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit that screenshot to rhinoraces.com. Under the submit results section, once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Also, check out their gear section while you're there for t-shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. That's rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series, and you can find us, Shoe Booty Sports, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on X at Shoe Booty Sports. Okay. What do we want to start with? We're down to the final four. First, do you have our bracket pulled up? I just want to see how
I
we did.
do.
Okay.
I do.
How did we do as far as the final four picks?
Uh, we got three out of the four, I believe.
Really?
Or no, we got two out of the four.
I'm about to say, how did we do
Eh,
that?
yeah, my other bracket has three out of the four. Yeah, the East screwed us over. We got the West right, but not the East.
Yeah. So,
Because we had Houston coming out over Florida in the Elite Eight.
I remember that. I'm sure we had Duke over UConn probably,
Yeah, along with 90% of the other people out there filling in their bracket.
which is probably how it should have gone, but that's not what happened. We'll talk about that. But so we
Yeah.
did get Arizona and Michigan right.
Yep.
Okay, that's how it's been in basically every one of my brackets. I got that side of the bracket correct. I whiffed on the other side. But I mean, who had? I'm sure UConn had some picks for the Final Four, deservedly so. You could have argued that they might have been a 1 seed had they not lost in the weight that they did in the conference tournament that they had. Um, but yeah, Illinois, UConn coming out of that side of the bracket. Very interesting. Interesting NCAA tournament as always. Nothing was exactly the way that it seemed to be, and that's always the case. Basically, the NCAA tournament has been right on point. You got some 1 seeds in there in the Final Four, and you got some surprises. But it's still you're still looking at the lowest seed is a 3 seed for the Final Four. This tournament always works itself out in the end. Every so often, you'll
Yes.
get a dark horse like a George Mason in the Final Four. Every so often, or like Butler having that run for 2 years, getting to the national championship game. But the tournament usually ends up being the top teams find a way in the Final Four, and then we'll get that in the national championship. As I guess we'll pick that because we're not going to have a show. The next time we have a show, we'll have already had the national championship game, so we'll,
Yep.
we'll make those picks. Um, how was your weekend of basketball watching from the March Madness standpoint? Before we get going, or let me revert back again. Let's talk Arkansas, Arizona. The game, I expected Arizona to win. We picked Arizona to win, but it was not. I just wanted to see some fight from the Hogs. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
they didn't fight, but it just looked to me like Arizona was so much better.
So much better. We stuck with our defensive plan from the first half that did not work. Cal did not change up his plan whatsoever. A lot of people are asking why we didn't run a zone to help, defend against the paint. Um, we just didn't. It's like after that first half, we accepted that we were just going to continue to get our asses kicked, and that's what Arizona did. They just turned around and handed our ass to us. Um, yeah, I expected them to win, but man, I did not expect a 20-point blowout.
I'm not surprised by it. Because Arizona is a really good team, and I haven't watched them very much this year, but I knew that about them. You can look at their record and just put that together. You don't have to be very smart to figure that one out. I don't know that
After
it
the
would have
first,
mattered. I don't know that it
no,
would have mattered had we gone to a zone. I think Arizona, they're that good that they would have found a way to beat us another way.
yeah. But after the first minute and 20 seconds, I knew it was going to be a long night because we already had 2 fouls. They might have been ticky tacky, but they were still 2 fouls, and not even a minute and a half has went by, and we get
Yeah,
fouls in the open court ahead of everybody else. Defenders running down, we're running down to cover them, and yeah, their defender just stops right whenever they get to the 3-point line. Our guy runs into them both freaking times, and we get a whistle. So yeah, it was a great start, and yeah, never looked back.
the officiating for the NCAA tournament has been largely pretty good, I think, for the most part, at least compared to what we saw in SEC officiating in the regular season, which was atrocious, really. There were so many fouls called throughout the season in SEC play. And it made it tough to watch at times. A lot of players fouling out, especially if you're a team like Arkansas that wasn't very deep. I always go back to the game in Alabama because it's the best example of this is a poorly officiated game from a foul calling perspective. Plus, it was one sided. Um, Fight me on that if you want to. It's what it is. But in the tournament, they've let them play. They've let them play more, and they even did that in the SEC tournament too. I think they let them play more in that. Um, NCAA tournament, they've definitely stuck with that. They've let them play, but the when it was starting to, it's like you said, and at this point the game had started to get out of hand. Arizona was up 15 or 20 points at this point, and you could tell it was getting away. There wasn't anything Arkansas could do, and that one guard I think is Avery for Arizona was just mouthy. He was mouthy the whole game. You could see it, and he was getting into it with like Malik Thomas was getting into it with him. And I looked at that as Malik Thomas was just sticking up for himself and his teammates, right? Like I'm not going to sit here while y'all are beating me and just let you just talk trash to me the way that you are. I understand it's part of the game, but I'm not going to take it, you know. And that was just Arkansas basically sticking up for themselves the only way that they could because they certainly couldn't hold a candle to Arizona in the actual game itself. Arizona was just so much better.
It
What?
might have been a little different if any of our 43s that we threw up went in, um, but they didn't. We were 1 for 9 at some point, and we just kept jacking them up. I mean, I know shooters are going to shoot, but we didn't even look like we had shooters on the court, but we were still letting them shoot.
It was a bad 3-point shooting game from the Hogs. In order to beat Arizona, Arkansas would have needed their absolute best, and Arizona would have had to have had an off night. It would have taken an all-time game. We got 28 from Acuff. You knew he was going to get his. We would have needed, I think I said it here, at least 25 points from Malik Thomas. Trevin Brazil would have had to have a big game. Uh, Big shots would have been needed to be made by Wagner. Ewan would have needed a big game. It would have taken everyone, that whole rotation for Arkansas, that isn't deep enough to play with a team like Arizona or talented enough either.
If
Uh,
I mean, if I said Arizona would win that game 95 out of 100 times, I'd be lying because they'd probably win 98 out of 100 times. 'Cause that was how talented they are.
yeah, if they played a best of 7 series, Arizona would probably win in 5 at like most, or that they'd either sweep or win in 5, is what I'm trying to say. Going back to the officiating, now the officiating was BS when Billy Richmond got called for a flagrant 2 on that and got ejected from the game, and he was clearly going for the ball. There was nothing flagrant about that foul. And I don't know if it was Jay Billis or who was calling the game. They had said there's no flagrant here. It's just a common foul. But they called a flagrant 2, not a flagrant 1, a flagrant 2, and then booted him from the game, which was ridiculous. And the argument was the officials are seeing where this is going. They're trying to get things under control. That's not how you do it, though. Just call the game and just don't let it get chippy. Like I said, that guy for Arizona, the guard Avery, I think is his name. Am I right on that or not?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and say you're right.
Okay, well, he was mouthy the whole game and just really like kind of pouring salt into the wound, which that's fine. If you want to do that, that's fine, but expect there to be some consequences, because of that. Yeah, actions have consequences, and that's like I said, that goes back to Malik Thomas just sticking up for himself and his team because there was nothing they could do on the court against Arizona. But that's the only gripe I really have with the officiating because that was BS. Arizona's winning that game with great officiating or not. It didn't matter. Arizona's winning that game. Arizona, and I think I didn't like the amount of flopping that they did at times to draw some of those fouls, but they were also kind of playing into what the game was doing or the way that the game was laying out and the way that the officials were calling it. They were taking advantage of that. Not saying I like it, I'm just saying I get it. But I think I might have said this to you. We were texting during that game. I was like, this is the national champion. This is the team that's going to win the national championship. At least I think they're the best team in the country. I thought it was Duke going into the tournament. After seeing enough of Arizona, it's Arizona. The Arizona Wildcats are the best team in the country. Agree?
Agree. And I hope that we're right because as long as Arizona beats Michigan in the Final Four, guess who gets first pick in the draft?
You? Wow. Okay. I think I had Arizona picked in that one. I had to because every other bracket I've picked Arizona.
Like everybody below me, pretty much that's in range has Arizona except for one guy who has Michigan.
Okay.
And he came up out of nowhere in the Elite Eight.
See, I had Duke winning in my bracket at work for like my department, but in the CT department, I picked Arizona, and then every other bracket, I picked Arizona, and I'm glad I did because especially after seeing them play Arkansas, I was like, that's the best team.
Who did Chad GPT pick? Say it was Tennessee.
They had Tennessee in the Final Four. And I think it was Arizona, Houston, and I think they might have picked Houston or might have picked Arizona. I don't know. They almost got it right, though, on Tennessee. Tennessee making an Elite Eight run. Tennessee had a really good draw from the tournament. Yeah, they did, but they had a good draw in the tournament, too. And they won. They won some games they weren't supposed to. But you could see how Tennessee could make a run. I could see where Missouri could have made a run, even though they didn't get past the round of 32. I saw where Vandy could have made a run. Same thing. They didn't get past the round of 32. My coworker picked Vanderbilt to get to the Final Four. And when he showed me his bracket, I said, what? Vanderbilt? I knew that wasn't going to happen. I say Vanderbilt could have made a run. They wouldn't have made it past the round of 16 because they would have run into Florida. Well, no, but how it shaped up was beforehand, you would have thought played Florida, and then you would have had to have played what you thought would have been Houston. And I was like, well, they're not going to beat those two back to back. So So I don't think I had them pass the round of 16. I believe I did have them in the Sweet 16, but I was wrong there too. But it's been an interesting tournament. Uh, like I said, Acuff 28 points. Certainly didn't hurt his draft stock any. Um, we all know he's going pro. They were saying it in the game, and this is going to be it for him. It's like, yeah, we all know that. Where would you or where how would you grade Darius Acuff's season as an Arkansas Razorback? Is it anything below A plus?
No.
100% agree.
I mean, how can it be? He had SEC Freshman of the Year, SEC Player of the Year, and he's one of the Final Four to be the NCAA Player of the Year. And he's got some other award, right? So, yeah, it's a lot. And he thought the SEC Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year were the same award. He didn't realize he won two different awards.
I mean, yeah, he's only 19 years old, so he hasn't had to study the college game much, and doesn't
And he
have
got a shoe deal. The only college player ever to have a shoe deal before he goes pro by Reebok. So with Allen Iverson, perfect pairing in my opinion. It's who he's getting compared to the most. So
I guess that's a fair comparison. I think. Yeah, I guess that's a fair comparison. One thing I heard this, I can't confirm it, but I've heard it that it was important for Acuff when uh, coming or during the negotiations with Reebok, it was important to him for the shoe to be affordable, for it to be an affordable shoe for for people, you know,
kids.
that
Yeah.
yeah, for kids and low income families. That was important to him. I thought that was very cool to hear that. So yeah,
We
A
all know Nike
plus,
wouldn't do that.
absolutely not. A plus year for Darius Acuff, right as an Arkansas Razorback. Yeah, add SEC tournament championship to that resume. One of only two times that's ever happened for Arkansas. So, Sweet 16 appearance, and even though the team didn't do well, 28 points in your last game as a Razorback. Also, I think he had more points than any player in his
Yeah.
first three games in the NCAA tournament, right?
Yeah. He did. Because even after the first two games, he was like 1 or 2 points ahead of the all-time score at that stage. And yeah, and then he put on another 28. So yeah, he was definitely leading after the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good run as a collegiate player in Arkansas Razorback. I again working at a hospital like I do, you hear some goofy takes from people, and I didn't go to work yesterday. I took some PTO. I was in Fort Smith Saturday and Sunday, and didn't come back home till Monday. But I heard that they were talking. A couple of people at work were talking about Acuff needs to come back for another year. This could be a really good team if he comes back and with Thomas and all. I said, dude,
Who's
shut
going
up.
to come back with him? I don't even think any of the other
Yeah,
guys are coming back.
yeah, Brazil. Yeah, that's the thing. Billy Richmond, Malik Thomas. I think they're all projected first round picks, and of course, Acuff. I think in the latest mock draft is going number 5 to Utah, which I'd be surprised if he dropped to 5.
I would be too.
Yeah, but that's an asinine thing to say. Go, you did what you needed to do. Go get your money. There's gonna it's this is, and these are guys that haven't seen Calipari. They're just used to him. I don't know. They're used to traditional coaching and recruiting and all that. No, Cal's getting a brand new crop. A new crop is coming in, crop of players, blue chip players coming in next year. It's going to be okay. Darius Acuff did all he needed to do at Arkansas. Far exceeded anybody's expectations. I've said it. I've said it here. He's the best Razorback I've ever seen. in a basketball uniform. You did what
Oh,
you needed to do. That's a strong resume. Sweet 16 appearance, SEC tournament championship, SEC Player of the Year. Go get paid because your stock's not going to go up
no.
if you stay another year. Certainly, it can only go down. So go now, go get your money. But yeah, I think Malik Thomas and Billy Richmond. Billy Richmond has played his way into an NBA player.
He made himself a lot of money this season.
Yes, he did. Now, Darius Acuff is the best Razorback player, one I've seen, and also that was on the team this year, obviously. Billy Richmond, the third, was my favorite player that Arkansas had. That guy did everything and did things that would not show on the stat sheet. He was that guy.
He did the dirty work, man.
He was the guy that really made that team go. I mean, when you needed a bucket, of course you had Acuff. If you needed a steal, a defensive stop, if you needed somebody to lock up the other team's top scoring guard or top scoring forward, Billy Richmond could guard them. It didn't matter which one. He could go up and block a shot at the top of the backboard, it seemed like. I mean, the guy had just unbelievable ups in game and basketball IQ. I loved watching Billy Richmond play for Arkansas these past 2 years. So he should be a first round pick, and I'm rooting for the guy wherever he goes. Him, Acuff, Malik Thomas. Somebody had Malik Thomas going at like 17th overall in the mock draft, which surprises me some. I'm a little surprised by that, but I think
Yeah.
people know that this guy played with Darius Acuff. So if Thomas was the guy this year, he could have easily been the guy averaging 22 a game. So I think scouts know that. Okay, all right, Goodyear, Arkansas. We decided that. Now the crazy game, obviously Sunday was UConn Duke. That Duke was up double digits, and you thought they were gonna
19.
19, almost 20. You thought Duke's gonna maybe not. You would think coast, but I knew UConn wouldn't go away quietly.
No.
They came and made it a game in the second half, but Duke kept them at bay until the very end, and then we saw what happened.
Yeah, from March Madness to March Sadness, or I don't know that. I think that's March stupidity, is what that one is. You don't even have to advance the ball. There's only 10 seconds on the clock. Like after that guy missed the first free throw and made his second one, I was like, well, they're still down two. It's game. I pulled up my phone, started scrolling through Twitter, and then all of a sudden I hear stolen. I look up in time, see this dude just heave up like pretty much a half court shot, and I was like, oh, that's gonna go in, and it just hit nothing but net. But how do you loot? I'm still dumbfounded about it. I mean, you just hate to see it happen to Duke, right? Again. I mean, this is hilarious. But
I
yeah,
loved it. Loved
I
it.
don't know how many times I watched that play on replay with everybody's reaction. Dude, at least 60 times. I could not get enough of it, man. Yeah, I loved it. Loved every second of it because I thought it was impossible for it to happen. Up and 10 seconds left. Oh, there's gonna inbound it, get fouled, game over. No. Hey, let's try to advance the ball. Let's do that.
Well, they
No.
did. Okay, so I was half paying attention really the whole game. Like I paced a half marathon that morning in Fort Smith. I stayed in Fort Smith till Monday, so I didn't have to be in a hurry to check out of my hotel or anything like that. I was like, no, I'm going to take some PTO from work Monday. I'm going to relax in Fort Smith. My mom came down from where she was, and we hung out that afternoon. See, that was the thing. We actually went and like had an early dinner. We hung out in downtown Fort Smith for a little bit and came back, and she wasn't feeling well because her plan was originally to stay for a while and like watch basketball and just hang out and then go home that evening. And she's like, I'm not feeling very good. I'm gonna go ahead and go home. So okay, that's fine. So I go in and I just go into my room and I'm just chilling on the bed, half paying attention. And I see that it's getting interesting at the end. And so I just put the phone down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this. And I watched that whole play. I watched the missed free throw and then the made free throw. And I was like, okay, Duke's got this. They just got to sink a couple free throws when it's over. Of course, they inbound it, get it to Boozer, Cameron Boozer. Um, and then they ball gets to his brother at just before midcourt, and instead of holding or trying to dribble away from it, what have you,
Or throwing the ball straight up in the air.
yeah,
High as
or
you can,
just
high as you can throw it.
throw it up the court, whatever. He tries to throw it over two guys that are taller than him. At least that's what it looked like. Then you get the steal, and now UConn has a chance. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And then he throws up the whatever it was, 30 plus footer. And you thought that was going in as it was coming out of his hand?
Yes, I was like, that's got to go in. Just
Okay.
because, just because it was so unimaginable that he actually had a shot. It's like it's gonna go in. It's got to. And
It
yeah,
did.
dude,
It hit nothing but
sweetest
net.
sound at the end of that throw. Just the
Uh,
swish.
and you knew with the amount of time that was on the clock, which was point 0.3 at the time, and they changed it to point 0.4. I was like, it's over. Duke has no shot.
Did you hear the Duke play-by-play?
I didn't hear the Duke play by play, but I've seen a lot of like play by plays, like showing both Dan Hurley and John
You
Shire.
you've got to listen to the Duke student play-by-play because they do the most Duke thing ever. They're like, "Oh, so and so came off the bench. That should be a technical foul." Like
I did hear that.
just expecting to get bailed out. It's like, no, that guy was already in the game. Like
Yeah.
he didn't come off the bench.
I heard that too, and even on the podcast, Pardon My Take with Big Cat and some of those other guys at Barstool. One of the guys on there is a Dookie, and he was talking. Yeah, they should have called it technical there. It's like, no, the hell they shouldn't
No.
have. No, you don't call that there. Yeah, he was wanting to get bailed out. Absolutely not. Like you lost the game. I mean, Caden Boozer even owned it. He said, I cost my team." Like, yeah, you did. Now Now he's not the
They
player.
had a timeout. They had a timeout in their
That's the thing.
pocket.
They had a timeout too. So if anything, he could have called timeout. Shire could have called timeout. Duke under John Shire, and this has become the new talk. I mean, they blow big leads in the
Yep.
big tournament, and haven't been able to win the big one, which I love it. I mean, because Duke
Everybody loves it.
is Duke. Well, everybody, but Duke fans.
Yeah.
But Duke basketball, they're like the New York Yankees. You either kind of love them or hate them. I don't hate them, but I've never. I think the only time I found myself rooting for Duke was Coach K's final game when they got knocked out by North Carolina in the NCAA tournament. I just thought it was kind of storybook to see how far Krzyzewski could take, Duke. I just found myself naturally kind of pulling for them, and I had never done that before or since. So that's the only time I've kind of rooted for Duke, if you want to say that. I mean, I didn't lose any sleep when
Yeah.
I lost. Didn't care that much. That's the only time I've ever even had a little hint of cheering for the Duke Blue Devils. I've I loved every bit of what happened Sunday. But I like this UConn team. I like Dan Hurley a lot. Dude is intense. I mean, he is very intense. And I'm here for it. It's a very interesting team. Always is with Dan Hurley, but that's going to be the best coach team left in the tournament easily, I would think. Arizona's really good though, but as far as just a coach, give me Dan Hurley over any of those guys. Let's go ahead and pick the final four while I'm thinking of it, and while we still have some time left in the episode, because we did say we were going to do that and all.
Yeah.
Game. I don't know who plays first, but we'll just go on each side of the bracket.
UConn, Illinois plays first.
UConn, Illinois. There you go.
Yeah.
These are Saturday games.
Yeah.
You have the time, like the time of the games. I imagine it's going to be afternoon.
It says 5:09 is tip off. So
is that Central Time?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Probably. All right, Randy Marsh. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
excuse me. Illinois, UConn. Who you got in that?
I got to go with UConn. I mean, Illinois has been very impressive, but man, they've played some ugly ball the last two games. I think their halftime score, the Sweet 16 matchup, was 25-21 or something like that. Like it was a lot of air balls and bricks going up. I mean, I guess you can account that to great defense on both sides. And then they get to play, a 9 seed Iowa State, which Iowa. They kept it close for a little bit, but even then, not a whole lot of points being scored. That and UConn, I mean, they pulled off the impossible. They do put up points. I'm going to roll with UConn.
There's some magic there, obviously. Of course, there's recent success. UConn, last back-to-back national champion we've had, which we didn't have one of those since the 07 or 06, 07 Florida teams. And that was obviously a great team. Those UConn teams also great. Yeah, there's some magic.
And women's team in the Final Four.
What?
Said their women team is in the Final Four as well. So it's back to old school UConn.
Yeah, so that's no surprise there. But yeah, the UConn women are back as well. If you're just a fan of basketball, that's good to see. Now it's better when there's more parity, but but there's still there still isn't parity. Even when UConn wasn't winning national championships, it just became South Carolina became the dominant team.
Yeah.
But yeah, UConn women are back. I will go. This Illinois team's a good team, but I'm going to go UConn. I'm going to go UConn just from. I'm going to give Dan Hurley the edge. There's just some magic to this UConn team. This UConn team could have been a 1 seed if it weren't for that loss right before the NCAA tournament. To what, Marquette? I think they lost to Marquette. Now, it was at the point in the season that didn't really matter, right? But, I mean, it might have cost them a 1 seed, but that didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. You would have had to play a 2 even if you were a 1 seed.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm going to go UConn over Illinois. I like this Illinois team, but I like UConn better. And there's just a magic about them. Better coach. Just more. And there are some players that have just been in that system at UConn. Like they're not a transfer portal kind of team, right? Like they're going to get some of those guys, but they also have players that have been through it and just know the way Hurley does things. And yeah, I've just got UConn. I'm giving UConn the edge really in just about every way. Illinois' bigs are good. Of course, the Ivisic brothers. Yeah, I like UConn there. All right, the other side of the bracket, which is I want to say the more interesting matchup, but there's UConn Illinois is interesting in its own way. Arizona, Michigan. I think Arizona is the best team in the country. I'm going to go Arizona there. I think Michigan can give them a battle,
I
but I
think they
think
will
it'll
give them a
be
battle.
yeah, but I think it'll be similar to Michigan Duke uh, earlier in the regular season, where they hang for a while, but Duke eventually pulled away. I kind of think this could be similar. I like Arizona here. What do you think?
In all my brackets, I have Arizona winning. I only have two brackets, so for the sake of a first round pick, Arizona better be winning that game.
Okay. Well, all right. So Arizona, Arizona, UConn is what we have in the national championship game. If anybody could take down UConn, or excuse me, Arizona, it probably could be UConn, just whatever Dan Hurley can scheme up for this game. But I think Arizona's going to figure it out. They're just so good. They're that good. Now there is a
Anybody can
magic
score,
to
man.
yeah,
Six people having 16 points or more during the Arkansas game. I mean, come on.
like that's the thing. And you talk about like you had mentioned us finding a way to defend their bigs, which we could not do. That 7 foot whatever white guy was just eating everybody alive in the Arkansas game. And I mean, Purdue gave Arizona some trouble. I didn't see that game, but I saw the score at times. But I did see Arizona eventually figured it out, and pulled away. Um, I just think if you try to take one thing away from Arizona, they're going to find another way to beat you. Like they're that good. So, do I think UConn could beat them? Yes, but I'm not picking them. I'm picking Arizona, 100%. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Just sitting here agreeing doesn't make for great podcast material, I guess, but this just seems like a common sense kind of thing. So we both have Arizona as your national champions, but we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it either way. That'll be the Monday night matchup. Whoever comes out of that, each side of the bracket, I think is going to be interesting. Um, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Anything else to touch up on before we get out of here? Because we are almost out of time.
Tiger Woods, please hire a personal driver. You're worth billions of dollars. Please, please hire a damn driver.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd say get some help, but really get a
He
driver.
needs to get some help too.
Yeah, he needs to get some help, but get somebody to drive you, especially when like, come on, you're being stupid at this point. You were
Yep.
stupid the first time you did this because you could have gotten a driver, but now you're being really stupid. Yeah, at this point, get some help because you're you're just making bad decisions at this point, like repeated bad decisions. So good thing to good thing to end on there. All right, well, we're going to get out of here. We're out of time, but we'll be back next week with everything else going on in the sports world. March Madness recap and all that. Until then, I'm Grandpal.
The Brown.
Deuces, y'all.
Peace.